So welcome for this lecture 11th, and our discussion will continue from the previous lecture, that is on bidirectional DC to DC converters. So in the previous class I have explained the bidirectional DC to DC converter. It basically consists of the boost converter, this side. This is the boost converter if you look from battery side. So if you look from this side, okay, then it is the boost converter. But if you look from the DC bus side, then it is seen as this part is seen as the buck converter with the switch combinations of S2 and D1. So S2 and D1 if I use, then we look from the DC bus side, then it acts like a buck converter. But if we look from battery side with some switch combinations of S1 and D2, then it is boost converter. Okay. So at a time we use the pair either S1 D2 or S2 D1. I have discussed this configuration in the previous class also. Now you can see more in terms of the circuit diagram. So when we see from this side, then this is the circuit with the combination of S1 and D2. So this is S1 here and this is D2. So D2 becomes D. And S1 comes here in the input side. And this is the topology for boost. The boost is one which have an inductor on the primary side, on the input side. And for the buck, the switch and diode are on the primary side. So the input is B watt. As you can see, the power flows from battery to the DC bus. Then it is basically discharging mode, you can say. So in discharging mode, you will have a boost operation because B watt is normally less than DC bus. Okay, for this case, B watt is less than BD bus. Although it could be otherwise, but let us take the most practical case where the battery voltage is less than the DC bus voltage. So obviously this stage is, if I move from battery to the DC bus side, the voltage is being stepped up and battery is discharging. The battery is acting as the source and DC bus is acting as the load. The power flows from battery to the DC bus and the whole topology with the combination of S1 and D2 acts in the boost mode, this topology. Correct? Now if I want to transfer power from DC bus to B watt, this direction, okay, if I want to transfer power from DC bus to battery side, then it is the charging mode for the battery. In that case, the battery is acting as the load and DC bus is acting as the source. So the role of input and output have changed. But thing is that this voltage is high for this case and this voltage is less. Therefore, the power flows from high voltage to the low voltage and this becomes the buck mode operation of the converter. This is achieved by using the switch S2 and D1. So if you use S2 and D1 and look from this side, what will you see? You will see this circuit. See it here. This is my B input now as VDC bus, and from that I will see the first switch here. The switch S2 becomes S. This is now S2 from this side. Then it will see the diode, this diode D1, this becomes D1, and then it will see the inductance and then it will see the capacitance. This capacitance is part of this battery, actually you can say like that. So this capacitance is different from that capacitance. This capacitance is C dash, you can say C dash. This is C dash. And this is C, this is this C. So there is a difference between the two capacitance. This capacitance is on the battery side, and this capacitance is on the D bus side, DC bus side. Okay, this capacitance is on the DC bus side. So try to understand the final difference. Okay, and DC bus, this is not DC bus, the B0 is actually the B in. So you have to replace this by B in. So this is B0 is B bat, not been B bat. So battery is the output now. Getting? So there is no problem as far as the role of battery and DC bus are fixed. You mean that it's a low voltage, high voltage. But what happens, B bat is more than DC bus, then this generic topology will not work. Why it will not work? Because if you want to charge the battery from this to this direction of power flow, and B watt is more than BDC bus, this means the power is flowing from low voltage to high voltage. But low to high voltage, the topology seen by DC bus is buck, not boost. Okay, if you see the topology from this side, then the topology is buck, not boost. Therefore, this model will not work for this condition. So what we need? We need a topology seen by the DC bus in both the modes, the buck mode and boost mode. Similarly, we must have a topology seen by the DC bus in boost and buck mode. Then only the power can flow both the direction at any voltage. This is the idea. So this concept is solved by Sepik Zeta converter. Okay, just focus on this side. Now this is the Sepik Zeta converter, DC to DC converter. If you look from battery side, this side, then the topology is Sepik. And you know that Sepik can act either in a buck or boost mode. A Sepik is a buck boost converter. So voltage could be higher or less than BD bus, but power can always flow from battery to the bus. You can see in this diagram, this side on the left hand side, first diagram, how it becomes Sepik when you look from the battery side for the switch combinations of S1 and D2. So if you look from battery side, the switch S1 and D2 operates. Okay, and S2 and D1 do not operate. They won't function for this Sepik topology. So we use S1 and D2 for Sepik converter looking from battery side. So you can see it here. When S1 is there, this is S1. And D2, this is D2. So S1, D2. L2 is already there, this is L2. C1 is already there, this is C1. And L1 is also there, this is L1. And C2 dash is part of the battery. So you can say the C2 dash is part of the battery here somewhere. So if you look from the battery side, it becomes the Sepik converter for the switch combination of S1 and D2. Now if we look from DC bus side, then we see the switch S2 and D1 operates, switch S2 and diode D1 operates. So for this, there is a switch S2, this switch and diode D1. So you can see, if you look from this side, C2 is part of DC bus, so C2 can be part of the DC bus itself here. I can put C2 here if you want. Okay, this is C2 and this becomes the side of the DC bus here. Then comes switch, okay, S2, so this is S2. Then comes inductance, this is the inductance. What is this? L2, so this is L2 in fact, if you look from the receiver side. And then comes C1, this is C1. Then comes the D1, this is D1. And then comes L1, L1 becomes L2 now, okay, and then C2 dash. So if you look from receiver side, the topology with the switch combination of S2 and D1 operates in zeta converter mode or zeta buck boost converter mode. Okay, so this is more generalized bidirectional DC to DC converter and is employed in the microgrid operations with the storage. Now let us observe different conditions for this. Both converters can operate in buck boost mode, so the voltage level should not be a problem for this topology. So we can see it here. There are two conditions we have taken. Okay, the first condition is that B battery is less than DC bus, this condition, and then the B bat is greater than DC bus. Okay, so first case is similar to the generic bidirectional DC to DC converter. Actually, the generic topology will also work with this, but then we have to make the boost on the buck on the receiver side, battery side, and boost on the receiver side, so that the circuit has to be interchanged, which is not practical in most of the field applications. For each condition here, that is B bat less than VDC bus, we have two conditions: battery charging and battery discharging. Similarly, for B bat greater than VDC bus, we have two conditions: battery charging and battery discharging. Okay, so these are the four cases, in fact, A, B, C, D. We have marked A, B, C, D. So if we take the first case, A case, where we say that power flows from BDC bus to B bat, it means battery charging. When you charge battery, the power has to flow from DC bus to battery. So if the power flows from DC bus to battery, what is the converter mode? Zeta converter, because power is flowing from this to this. So zeta converter will come into picture. The second configuration will come into picture with the combination of switch S2 and D1. Okay, so as you see from the table that S2 and D1 are operating for this case, and the circuit acts in the buck mode because the B bat is less than DC bus. So power is flowing from high voltage to less voltage, high voltage to low voltage. So power is flowing from this to this. So high to low means basically buck operation. Therefore D is less than 0.5 for this case. So zeta will act in the buck mode and the duty cycle will be less than the 0.5. Then take the second case, B case, when the battery is discharging. Okay, in that case we call it B case. Then power will flow from battery to the DC bus, because battery discharging is giving its power back to the DC bus. So power is flowing from battery to the DC bus. What will be the converter mode? SEPIC, because from battery side, if I look the circuit for combination of S1 and D2, it is the SEPIC topology. So the converter is SEPIC and the switch combination is S1 and D2. And what is the mode of operation? Is a boost, because battery has a less voltage DC bus has a more voltage, so we are transforming power from low voltage to high voltage, therefore it must be operating in the boost mode with a duty cycle more than 0.5. Now take the other case when B watt is more than BDC bus. It is also possible for certain applications that battery voltage is far more than DC bus. In that case, the power is flowing from DC bus to B battery. Okay? Because battery is being charged, so battery is acting as the load, and therefore DC bus is the source. So power flows from DC bus to battery. So when the power flows from DC bus to battery, what should be the converter circuit topology? Zeta. If I look from DC bus side, then it is a zeta converter for switch combination of S2 and D1. And since we are going from DC bus, which is at the low voltage, and B watt is high voltage, okay, so we are going from low voltage to high voltage power flow, then it is a boost mode, and for this D is greater than 0.5. If you compare these two cases A and C, the difference is of the buck and boost mode. The power always flow for battery charging mode, power always flow from DC bus to battery. Whether battery is voltage is more or it is less, it doesn't matter. So this is same for both the case. And this is also same because since from DC bus side the topology is zeta for S2 D1 combination. So this is also same. So what is difference is only the duty cycle, and that makes either buck or boost mode. Now take the battery discharging case. Then this is D case, and for that the power will flow from battery to DC bus because battery is getting discharged, so battery is acting as the source and DC bus is acting as the load. If you see from battery side, it is always Cepheid topology for S1D2 combinations. And now since B bat is more than BDC bus, so we are transferring power from high voltage to low voltage, and therefore this time the Cepheid converter is acting in the buck mode, and hence the duty cycle is less than 0.5. So these aspects are being considered in the control of the whole bidirectional converter. We have to check the two bus voltages, then we have to check the battery conditions, whether it needs charging or discharging depending upon the state of charge of the battery. So state of charge of battery is being checked, and then it is decided whether it wants charging or discharging. Also the status of DC bus is also being checked. The status of DC bus is also checked to indicate whether it is available for charging and discharging. The very interesting part is that in bidirectional applications, the source and the load can be interchanged. So battery can be a source, it can be a sink. Similarly, DC bus can be a source, it can be a sink. It should have capacity to absorb the power, and it must have capacity to give the power. So that is the requirement for bidirectional converter. That's why you need storage. If you want to extract the maximum power from the PBV, if we want to extract the maximum power from the PB, then we have to have a storage, because the maximum power may not always be dumped into the load. So the additional power will be pumped back into the storage. So that's how storage is required for PV systems if we want to extract the maximum power. I will continue design aspects of these converters. So this is the basic idea about the main or important DC to DC converters. Now let us go for some more aspects such as the design and control aspect of these converters. What I have given is the steady state operation in terms of the duty cycle. But for design and control, we need the dynamic modeling, a dynamic aspect of the converter, that under the transient conditions how this converter performs and what should be its design. So for design of the DC to DC converter, because they are switch system, state space averaging modeling is used. In fact, the state space average modeling can be used for any system which has switched functions, because switching alters the state of the circuit, and for on it is a different state, for off it is a different state. So there are two states, and these two states have to be averaged to study the design and the control characteristics. Now, as the name indicates, state space average, so it is average of the two states, that is on and off. Now you can see from this circuit, the first diagram on the right hand side, this is B in, this is B output, and this is I in, this is D in. You will be surprised to know that we have used I in as the output variable. It's because the input is actually D, and for given B input there is a output voltage B0, and for that B0 there will be some I0, and for that B0 and I0 there will be some I in. So I in is not the input actually, I in is the consequence of the phenomena. So I in it comes under the output variable, not in the input variable, and it reflects the power flow at the output stage, B0 into I0. So obviously B0 into I0 will be B in into I in. This is called steady state space model. But if you go for dynamic model of this DC-DC converter, then things are different. This B in becomes B in cap. So B in cap basically is the change in the input voltage. Actually we can denote like this also, B in. But since it is difficult to always write delta and B, that it is convenient to use B in cap. So this change is B in cap. Okay, but they are same. So for this change in voltage and for the change in output current, so very interestingly, the output current becomes the input variable. Please note it. The output current becomes the input variable for the dynamic model, because the change in the output current will be considered to bring the change in the switching state, and hence the state variables, and hence the output voltage. Okay, so the change in output current becomes the input variable, and the change in the input current becomes the output variable. Here, the duty cycle change again is the input. So for change in duty cycle, for this change in the input voltage and output current, the model gives the value of state x cap, or change in the value of state x cap, which gives the output B0 cap and I in cap. So this is the dynamic model, this is the steady state model. If we combine these two models, then it becomes the generalized model. So you can see this is generalized model. It is the combination of these two. Steady state model plus dynamic model. So you can see that this becomes B in plus B in cap, input side. The I0 cap is the change in the output current. You may ask question, why we do not consider I0 plus I0 cap? Because for a given steady state current, there is no change required in the dynamic modeling. A dynamic model won't respond to the steady state current because it is a fixed output. So therefore, the steady state current is not being considered for this output current. Only change in the output current is required to be considered for dynamic modeling. The state is x plus x cap. We will sum these two states here, this and this. So x plus x cap. Then output system, we will get B0 plus B0 cap. So steady state value plus change in the output voltage, and at the output we will also get I in plus I in cap. So the input current, earlier input steady state current plus change in the input current. So this is called as generalized model for DC to DC converter, which is combined model of steady state model plus dynamic model. So what to do with this model? Now this model can be used to study the behavior of the DC to DC converter, and it is particularly useful to design the parameters of the DC to DC converters as well as for the control scheme. You need the fundamental knowledge of control system. I hope all of you would have done the basic course in control system, that we can represent any dynamic model, any system with the help of state space modeling. So state space modeling is the one where we represent the dynamic variables or state variables by a simple equation that x dot equal to ax plus bu, that x dot equal to ax plus bu. This is called state space model, where x is the state vectors. It could be anything in physical system, could be velocity, it could be acceleration, it could be a position. In case of electrical, it could be a rate of change of current through the inductor, it could be rate of change of voltage of the capacitance, and A is the system matrix, X is the state variable, this is the rate of change of state variables here, and this is B is the input matrix, and U is the input vector. I will not be able to explain in much more detail. I hope you know it. Okay. In general, the dimension of, some people write like this, they use the bracket like this to denote it as a vector. But in short, we always denote like this. In this description, I have used for some time as the bracket to denote as a vector, but later on I have dropped it to make it more convenient to write on the screen. So using this concept, we will express the state during on and during off condition. Please note it that we are saying during on and during off conditions. So x dot on is sum A1 into x plus B1 into B in plus M1 into I0. B1 is the input coefficient for B in, and M1 is the input coefficient for the I0. Actually, B in, I0 are acting as the inputs. As I said in the beginning, the I0 cap is the input actually. If you want to write in form of this form, you can also write like this, B1, okay, then M1 into, you can write like this, B in and I0. So this can be written in this form also. In that case, this becomes B matrix and this becomes U matrix. So this has been expanded in this form. And A1 is the system matrix, X are the state variables. So this equation is for on time of the switch. For off time, we can express as following, that this is the x dot during the off time, x dot of t off time, then A2, this is for A2 into x and B2 into B in and M2 into I0. So this time the coefficients have changed. So during off time, x dot equal to A2. Now A1 has become A2, B1 has become B2, the M1 has become M2 because the condition of the circuit has changed. So system matrix and input coefficients will be different, or input matrix will be different. So this is x dot on, this is x dot off. The next step is to find out the average state. So average state will be nothing but xt on or x dot t on into t on plus x dot, you see here, x dot during t on into t on, x dot during t off into t off divided by t on plus t off. That's how we find average, like x1 into n1 plus x2 into n2 divided by n plus n2. So t on plus t off is ts, and here t on is d into ts and t off is 1 minus d into ts. So therefore this equation becomes x dot during t on into d plus x dot during t off into 1 minus d. This is the average state. Okay, and this average state is further simplified by substituting the x dot t on and x dot t off. So what is x dot t on? From this is x dot t on. So we substitute back here. So x average dot becomes x dot t on is a1 into x plus b1 into b in plus m1 into I0 cap. And similarly, the x dot during t off, this is a2 into x plus b2 into bn plus m2 into I0 into 1 minus d. And if we collect the coefficients of x and b in and I0, then it becomes a1 into d plus a2 into 1 minus d, then x, then b1d plus b2 into 1 minus d into b in and m1d plus m2 1 minus d into I0. So we have collected the coefficients of x, b in and I0. So this is the average state. Now this x average is linearized about the state x and for the change in the state x cap. Therefore, we can express as the x average dot is equal to x dot plus x dot cap. For the change in duty cycle, d cap, for the change in the input as a b cap. So we will learn about this linearization in the next class, and we will see how this method can be applied for the design and control of the DC to DC converter.